It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of June 2nd, 2000. And by movies, I mean one movie, because there's only one big new movie that came out this weekend. And that's the one we're going to talk about today, and that is Martin Lawrence in the comedy Big Mama's House. Martin Lawrence is an FBI agent who is tasked with tracking down an escaped convict played by Terrence Howard in his loot by going undercover as the estranged grandmother of his former girlfriend, played by Nia Long, unaware of the bond he will form with her, both as the grandmother and also in terms of a relationship. So, we've seen this done before. It's been done at times in great capacity. You know, Tootsie, Mrs. Doubtfire, some of the greatest cross-dresser movies of all time. Most times, it doesn't really work. It usually needs that spark or that edge to really give it its own unique spin on everything. And this has a little bit of its own unique spin to the point where I would say it's a decent film. It's nowhere near as good as something like Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire, and it has a lot of the jokes that are very predictable and very much there because they have to be there. But, of course, this went on to become its own franchise of films, and let me just say right off the bat that each one of these movies progressively gets worse and worse, and, you know how they were always talking about doing sequels to Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire for a number of years until they finally said, yeah, we can't really make this work because the first movie just works on its own and there's no real reason or reasoning for why we can continue this into other films. The Big Mama's House movie should be a perfect example of why this should not be more than just one movie. It just needs to be one movie, because Big Mama's House 2, which I saw it back in the day, I didn't think it was that bad, but it's definitely not a good movie. But Big Mama's Like Father Like Son is a complete waste of your time, but I will say that neither one of these movies compares to the first movie, which isn't a great movie per se, but it still has little moments that make me laugh and go like, you know what? I can still find some value in this. I can still find a lot of value in this movie in terms of the comedy, even though it's very predictable. It's very much what you expect it to be. There's a lot of good talent involved in here. You've got Martin Lawrence and Nia Long. You have Paul Giamatti, Terrence Howard, Anthony Anderson. Ella Mitchell plays the real Big Mama. You have Tashina Arnold from Everybody Hates Chris, Octavia Spencer, Cedric the Entertainer, Aldous Hodge, a lot of notable names in this movie, and they're doing exactly what they need to do here. And I think the reason why this works okay is because it's done by the same people who did the prosthetic makeup for Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire is only about 7 years old up to this point, and it makes sense why the makeup work looks okay overall, even though Martin Lawrence's Big Mama does not look like the real Big Mama in this movie, but it has enough there where it can get by with some of the stuff it's done, and it still has moments in there that do legitimately still make me laugh. I mean, there are still moments in here that I still find very funny in terms of, like, not just really, not really smart humor in general, but clever humor in general, and then some gross-out jokes that I actually think do kind of work, but it's very few and far between. I would not say that this is a classic movie by any means, or a movie I would say I watch this anytime it's on TV. If it's on and there's literally nothing else on, I'll watch it, but it's one of those ones where I'm just kind of like, I should hate this movie more, but in the end, I think it just works fine for what it is. I think it delivers everything it promises. If it had just stayed as this one movie, I think we really just could have put it up there maybe as the bottom of the top three with Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire, but because this went on to become a trilogy in its own right, not so much. But, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's definitely the best of these three films, but, like I said, it's not one I'd watch over and over again, honestly. It's just kind of, like, it's there. It's fine for what it is. Has some good moments overall, but it's not one I'd want to watch on repeat over and over again, so. Yeah, not much more to say about that one. That is Big Mama's House. I was about to say Mrs. Doubtfire, but I would be wanted to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire more, but we just talked about Big Mama's House. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And again, only one big notable movie to talk about next time around, and that is Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage and Angelina Jolie. Kind of on the same level as Big Mama's House. Not a great movie overall, but we can find some stuff to talk about it. So, should be another quick one next time around with that movie, Gone in 60 Seconds. We'll talk about that one. That'll be next time. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. If you like this, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, I'm off. I will see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.